sure if I'm even broadcasting right now. I'm currently really struggling. I was given a script by a good friend of mine and told that this would improve my life significantly, and it seems to have the opposite effect where I can't stream at all. I can certainly scream. Yes, I can certainly scream a lot. Um, uh, I might have to not do this today. Oh, this is frustrating. Okay, so this is really frustrating. Oh, what can I do? My StreamYard is not good. Maybe if I do settings, general. No. Can I? Can't find a position for issues. Hello, everybody. Yes, disaster ensures, things break down, workarounds are found, we solve, we fix, and welcome to the stream. This is a complete peer pressure. I blame Maya. She is the only one to blame. Thank you so much. I love seeing you, Maya. Ox, thank you. Good to see you. Scream into the Nanalu, absolutely. Although I found, with my prior troubleshooting that screaming into the darkness is not effective. It does not, in fact, repair systems, but it does provide some relief to the technician's psyche. So that there is that, definitely. But I get you. Yes, you are to blame. Yeah, you are 100% to blame. Absolutely. I could not be more happy with the amount of pressure that you have enforced on me. I'm going to open this up straight away. I want this to be ready and up right now. And I might even get a bit cheeky with it and get it pinned so we can have wonderful, fantastic, awesome people come and join and enjoy and come along. Please join, talk. There was so much. This is sort of a follow-up from Skylar Fiction's stream, which is really cool. And there's like a lot of questions I have about the American system and what was being discussed and just all kinds of things. So if you do want to join, please do. More than happy to have you. Hi, Bree. Bree's fantastic. I really enjoy Bree's streams. I love that Bree loves cockroaches and other bugs. She is amazing. And our first victim is Wilberforce. Hey, Wilbur, how's it going, mate? I think you might be muted your end. I don't see the mute this end, but I do. Mate, why are you telling other people to join the stream? You said you would come on the stream. You said you would, and you're not here. Thank you. Wilbur, I might throw you backstage, mate. I'll check on you later. If you just drop something in the private chat when you get your sound working. I don't think it's this end. I'll add Maya and we can check. Just one sec. Hey, Maya, how you doing?
Hi.
Hello. Yeah, I think we'll.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was having problems with my sound earlier too. Sometimes it helps if you like jump out and come back in, or check your settings before you come
Yeah,
in.
and definitely check your physical mute, because I do that all the time. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
My
okay. It's a common
like when I
problem.
tried to join earlier, it took me 5 minutes just to figure out that my mic wasn't plugged in.
Nice.
'Cause-
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm really tech savvy.
Well, I mean, this start, Peter gave me these scripts for OBS and StreamYard, and he said like it'd be amazing, and it looked amazing, but I never tested the go live button, because why would you? So it
But hey, see,
required.
I helped you out because you would want to do this in a stream you actually, planned and wanted to. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I can hear now.
Fantastic. Thanks, Wilbur. Yeah, we can hear
All
you now,
right.
mate.
All right.
Yeah. Who would want
Hey,
to
Titan's
plan
here.
a stream? Titan, it's so good to see you, mate. Pull me out of my depression nest. Oh, Bree.
But Bree,
You're wonderful.
Bree, you are a beautiful woman, and you deserve to be in the stream.
Absolutely.
Nobody deserves to be in
I
here more
agree.
than you. You should jump in here and like see all the love. Bree is like really loved in this community. She gets a lot of views. She did a great stream earlier.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think
I really
Bree
enjoyed
deserves it more just because of the amount of abuse she receives.
And I do have a couple of questions for Bree about her upcoming stuff, and I think that Bree is a amazing woman, and she is capable of anything she puts her mind to. But I want to make sure you're okay, Bree, because I really love you. You are amazing, and I'm not just saying that flippantly. You are a wonderful person. I have always felt so welcomed and so comfortable around you, and that's how she makes everybody. That's not just me. Everybody feels that way.
I agree.
And I want to give a big shout out to Caterpillar, who's also absolutely amazing. Hello, Bug. We have all our Bug people in here who we absolutely love. So. But I really enjoyed that stream. Look, you want me to bust Skylar up, like seriously. I'm not going to, but I really enjoyed the stream anyway. I was fine to sit and listen because it was really interesting. I thought
the politics would be too much for like half the people. I was surprised 40 people stayed to listen to me ramble and bitch about my country's politics.
Well, I mean, everybody bitches about their country's politics. That's hardly just you, Maya. That's a commonality throughout the world.
I used to be a civics teacher, so I bitch about it a lot.
Yeah. and I just say your political, like your actual electoral system is absolute trash. Like it is terrible. Of the ways you could design an electoral system to be representative of people, especially the electoral college and stuff, it is one of the worst ways you could ever implement an electoral system.
Well, I mean,
yeah, sorry.
The electoral college is really just a holdover from the 3/5 compromise and the whole idea of, slaves being representative of a population, even though they weren't allowed to be represented.
Okay.
Our country is what you would expect of a country founded on slavery and genocide.
Yeah.
Okay, one sec. I've got a fantastic person here. Hello, Bree.
Oh my God.
Bree.
Thank you for the love bomb. You'll warm my heart when you say things like that.
No, I don't think you understand how much it pains the rest of us to hear that you're feeling sad. Like when we say we love you, it's not just like bullshit. Like there's a lot of love for you in this community, and we love you. We want the best for you, and we want you to feel as happy as you make us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm always been open about mental health stuff because I think we all struggle with some
Yeah.
degree
Yes.
of mental health.
Oh, for sure.
And to be open about the stuff I'm struggling with, I hope that encourages other people to be open about what they're going on, what's going on in their life, and seek help if they need it.
Yes.
Because you shouldn't go through these struggles alone.
No, you can't. You can't. It'll drive. If you're going crazy, doing it alone will drive you there faster. And it's a really important thing to, I would say, talk about it. But like, even for me, when I was going through postpartum, like I had pregnancy-induced depression, and it's kind of difficult to explain unless you've been there, just like how mental health is seen by the Black community. But a lot of the stereotypes, a lot of stereotypes that plague us cross over into that faction too. And you aren't able to, you don't feel comfortable asking for help because you are afraid that people are going to treat you worse.
Yeah.
And it's just this perpetuating thing. And we have a lot of suicides. And I was actually reading something not too long ago, right before the pandemic, where they were talking about like the vast differences between suicides between Black teens and white teens, and like why is it so much more prevalent in white teens than Black teens. And a group of researchers were saying, well, for inner city Black males, it may just manifest differently, where you may see it as like these, crazier things where they're, either engaging in behaviors that they know will end in death, be it, gangs or, interactions with police that aren't readily available to their cohorts of any other, any other race, really.
Yeah.
But we are seeing an uptick. Like, I've been watching mental health through the pandemic is sky high, like rocketed. And part of me is happy that it's being diagnosed more, but it also seems to be more prevalent. And I'm not sure what's more true, if it's just like, if it's actually more prevalent, if we're seeing this pandemic induced mental health or depressions, or if it's actually people having the time to be like, hey, I need help and I'm going to reach out, and it's just being diagnosed more. I suspect it's a combination, but we really need to destigmatize it.
I got a few thoughts on that, and I don't want to minimize what anybody's feeling. And people sometimes think, well, if I share it, I'm going to bring people down, and I'm gonna have this impact on them, and I don't want them to feel down as well. And what I found, and this is just speaking from my experience, that isn't what happens. People, when you share what you're going through, you don't bring people down. They feel empathy and connection with you, and that connection is kind of empowering in a way. But I'm so sorry if you feel this way, Bree, and I know
it's recognizing what's going on with my brain chemistry and things like that is going to be what I'm feeling is not, I guess, real. I don't want to say it's not real, but it's
valid.
Yeah, the stimulation. I can rise above that and try to rationalize my
the feelings are valid.
Yes. So I think that sometimes people try to go, oh, well, you shouldn't feel this, or you should listen. Whatever you feel is valid, and sometimes you have to, like, sometimes you're just doing shit, right? And you have to go, I'm let's not deny it. Let's not try and be happy. It's shit, like that's the reality that you have. I think for me though, when I'm feeling like that, and this might not be the same for you, Bree, admittedly, but I just try to remember that those all feelings are temporary. They're just that it will pass, and that's hard to remember sometimes when I'm really down. I was kind of down after Ronnie was horrible to me the other day. I actually felt sad, I did.
Oh, he was such a prick.
But what was amazing was all of the people that sent their love. And Bree, you were there sending your love, and I appreciate it so much. Maya did. Wilbur was there saying, "Hey, you were great."
You was handled it so classy.
And you handled it way better than I would.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
And the way that so he asked me if I was sad, and I let myself be vulnerable and go, yeah, I am a little sad at that, and he used that as ammunition. And I went, wow, that's to find somebody's to hear somebody's vulnerability and use it as ammunition is kind of, but that's not a reflection on me
at all.
That's a reflection on him.
It's a demonstration of what a terrible person he is.
100%.
Well, and I do want to, and Bree, being vulnerable and saying, hey, I'm doing badly is so brave, and I admire you so much for being vulnerable and connecting with people, and you are an amazing person. That's my opinion.
Well, I had my obligations for today, but I have been feeling kind of down. So I've been laying around just watching classic cartoons on my phone as a coping mechanism. So
it's a good cope.
Yeah, whenever I see one of my friends go live, I always, even if I don't intend to sit, I'm not in a place where I can sit and watch it, I always intend to come in and give a thumbs up and say hey in the side chat or whatnot before I go back to my cartoons and moping. But you guys were talking, I was in Skylar Stream, and before that you say this is a follow-up to Skylar Stream. Skylar Stream was pretty much a follow-up to Math Pig Stream, and so
awesome.
on and so
right
we're getting a chain going around the world is what we're doing, from England to America.
This stuff I'm alone more than anything, so having the opportunity to come in here and be with you, somebody, almost always somebody going, like, come on and hang out with you guys and talk about some stuff and take my mind off of what's eating at me and all the life struggles that are getting in my way. So I think this is the first time I've been on a stream with Mr. Wilberforce. I've chatted with you. And
I've very recently started doing anything like this. Mm-hmm. I'll be honest. I don't really know how to do most of it.
Me too.
So
that's okay.
Right.
Me too.
I haven't really had time to learn how to do social media. Like I use computers as a work tool.
Is this social media?
I guess.
I don't know. I don't.
Maybe.
Like
I don't know.
So, Mark, I'm going to be getting my new computers sometime next week. It should be here.
Okay.
One of my fans bought me a computer so I could get back to doing produced OBS content, because I'm a as much as a fun personality as people seem to think I am on camera, I'm much more efficient backstage and doing layouts and the production side of things. I would like to offer to at least produce a few streams for you, see if you like my work and see if
your production value is amazing, Bree. I would love that. I would love if you taught me to fish, though. You know what I mean? And like taught me.
To go through and learn how to use the systems and stuff. Absolutely.
That would be amazing, Bree. That would be really amazing.
I actually learn from the best, so I know my way around quite a bit. For Critical Cupcake and Math Pig, show me the ropes. We taught like Knock. We taught the Raging Atheist kind of how to use his. So you can see how his stuff looks, and you see how my stuff looked before I had to switch to this laptop. So anything from before June.
He's not the raging atheist anymore. I was talking to him. I think I've only recently met him, but he seems like a really nice guy. I really enjoyed talking to him the other night.
Not the Suchi.
Yeah, he's very genuine.
Me and Maya go way back with Knock, don't we?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. He's and I was telling him that earlier today. I'm like, I like how, genuine that he is, and if he doesn't pretend like he knows stuff he doesn't and whatnot, and is very straightforward.
Yeah, he keeps his emotions on his sleeve. Definitely. Seen him in very high highs and very low lows, and oh God, he very. I think what I admire about him most is that he's very open about what he's going through, and it's like the journey and what it takes to get from, okay, I fucked up, to I think I'm going to be all right. And I wish more people would do that, because it's important to see. I think especially in our society, we think that for whatever reason, bad things are never supposed to happen, and perfect people always do everything right. And I have to tell people all the time, success is a part of failure. I mean, failure is a part of success. God.
Right.
No, the opposite is true as well.
What. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
I think the opposite is true as well. Like, you will succeed on some little things and still fail, and that's okay. Yeah. You've got to. Well, you don't have to. I'm not going to tell anybody they've got to do anything. But what I try and see is the little things I've learnt in my failures. Just the small things that I've gone, hey, I've actually learnt this tiny little thing, and that's a victory. Even though I completely and utterly screwed it all up, that's the victory that I learnt. Something small, and I try to. It's hard though. It's really hard.
It's what Edison said, right? I haven't failed 1,000 times. I've ruled out 1,000.
Right.
Yeah, there's 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb, right?
Bad ways to do it. I can't recall the exact quote, but
he's figured out 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb, I think is what he says.
Right. Something like that.
Hi, Andy.
Mark, can I present something to you regarding the title of your stream today?
Okay, sure.
Okay, Ad-Hoc. So it may have been Ronnie that was saying this when you were having your discussion with him, but that science it was actually something Darth Dawkins said, but I was watching him on Godless Girls channel the other day, and he was talking about how punctuated equilibrium was ad hoc reasoning, and I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that's right. It is ad hoc to explain what we observe. And I thought about it more, and I'm like, the scientific method is ad hoc reasoning. Like, the whole process is ad hoc. You're observing natural phenomena, and and you're looking back at it and saying this must be caused by that. So you are.
It's ad hoc.
It's structured. Yeah, it's structured ad hoc. It's systematic ad hoc.
I think I would go.
But it's ad hoc based on.
I think I would go so far as to say that the hypothesis is ad hoc. I'm not sure about sort of scientific theories I would categorize.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Up to that point, ad hoc is part of the scientific process. Yes, that's exactly.
Yes, what I mean. that would be a better way to say it. Yes, ad hoc explanations are part of the process. Yeah, yes.
You make an observation, then you do your hypothesis, which is ad hoc.
Right.
And then you do your experiments.
Yeah.
Each result that you find conforms to your hypothesis, of course, is
it adds strength.
Yeah. So every time the experiment is run, or the observation is the prediction is put to the test, it adds strength to it. But from its inception, it was an ad hoc that you give veracity to through repeated observation, repeated prediction, repeated experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why I called it. Sorry, Wilbur. Go ahead, mate. Go ahead.
Oh, look, when you're dealing with precepts, particularly, like, just assume that they're functioning under different rules than you are, because they assume that. So, just like, I won't even talk to them other than to say, you don't have any more justification than I do, period. And until you can tell me how God solves the problems that you have with my reasoning, well, then shut up.
I won't talk to them, but like I don't consider them, to be honest, interlock orders either.
They're not.
So it's like one of my biggest pet peeves are things that waste my time. And sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna agree with just what you're saying, that they're admit that precept is not an argument in good faith. It's a gotcha.
No, it's not.
I'm owning the atheist for Jesus. That's all they're really trying to do, and it's a complete waste of my time. I could literally be doing anything else. I am not like entertainment for the evangelicals. If you want to have an honest conversation about what you believe, like I'm all for that. I love talking about religions and what you believe and why, and the nuances of it.
Sure.
But
that does make me feel better, Titan. Thank you.
Titan. If your point is to piss me off because it amuses you, I rather buy out of the conversation.
And it's funny because they come into it with that being the point. But have you ever seen an interaction with a precept where it wasn't the precept who rage quit? Has it ever happened?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it has?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen a number of people rage quit because the precept continues to assume that, well, yeah, but anything you say is unreasonable because it's not based on God.
Yeah, you have to. Without God, there's no foundation, right? So you're
right.
And
you know what? I would rage quit on that. Just be like, well, fuck off then.
Yeah,
there's no reason for me to talk to you.
I guess I'm being selfish and saying about my experiences, because every time I go into it, they always mute me, block me, kick me. I've never.
Let's be honest, Bree.
An engagement with a precept. I've never raised.
They're not doing that. They're not doing that based on anything you say.
Right.
Yeah.
They're doing that based entirely on who you are and the ridiculous bullshit that they layer on to that.
Well, I sort of asked to go to question time for that debate against Ultimated Christian because, so if you consider that rage quitting, sure, I had enough of his nonsense basically. So I've seen people rage biblical nonsense. Yeah,
but that on MDD too, because I don't think I saw that one.
So I can absolutely understand sort of just going, no, I'm not dealing with this nonsense anymore.
Can you pull it up? Let's watch it. I want to watch that. But
just 1 second. I'll just get Just Jonas in. Just Jonas, welcome to the stream.
Hi. I got to welcome Orge too.
I made it.
Howdy.
Yeah.
I haven't been in a stream with you in about what is it, a year? The last time I was in a stream with Orge was at in Jeff's stream. Jeff, I think, had maybe a few too many beers and fell asleep, and we had to.
I remember that.
Co-host the show.
I'm sorry, Jonas. Did you want to say something, mate? You sort of started there. I do apologize.
No, I was just saying I finally made it because
I left a comment. You replied to it like really fast the other day.
Yeah, I want to reply to everything I read, but
Yeah.
it's so hard to reply to everything. I do read everything though, and if I can remember correctly, yours was the one on. Remind me, was it anger?
It was
No, different comment.
It was the discussion with Ronnie about
Yeah.
the reason for why things kind of got out of hand. I feel like.
Okay.
Yeah.
With T-Jump or with Mark?
With Mark.
With me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's been recently then, within the last couple of days.
You were saying that the way that my presentation was too much like a teacher educating my opponent kind of thing. It was sort of
it came across as like a kind of like a at least to me it felt as though you had like didn't give them enough credit for like what their ideas were, what their thoughts were, and it was more of like you were teaching people for the audience to understand and follow along, but the way that it was presented was directing it at him, so it made him feel like you were calling him stupid, basically,
patronizing
which
him.
felt like it caused a bunch of tension for the entire thing. And I don't think it was anybody's fault necessarily, but it's just the what I've seen from the way that you represent your ideas. You kind of do it in a way that's more of a teaching, or this is the way that it is sort of deal, laying out the facts sort of ways. So I was kind of that's kind of what I was trying to put out.
Well, but he did keep asking questions. He would say, "Oh, I understand this," but then he would ask him questions about the terms too. So Mark would, I mean, it's like a teacher. I mean, I think is the only way you can do it without being patronizing. Like me, I would have been like, I thought you knew this. And then he would say, I know this, and then talk about it in a way that didn't conform with the actual definition. And so another thing I saw was Mark trying to redirect him, like, okay, no, this is what I mean. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, look, there does come a point where apologists' understanding of all the things that they want to argue against it's literally rooted in a misunderstanding of like middle school biology. Right?
Yeah.
So you have to treat it the way a teacher would treat it.
Yeah, if it was evolution or something, I would agree with you. But this had nothing to do with biology, of course, But I think my background being from sort of an IT technical support background, I have a tendency to talk to people and explain what it is that I'm doing. So that's what you would do in tech support. You'd be like, this is the major cause, these are the causes that could be happening. I know it is this is what that means. Here is why that is happening. And it's very, very precise and very, you're relaying facts rather than presenting an argument, that these are the facts. So I think Jonas does have a point that my style does lend to, these are the facts kind of thing, because that's what I've generally been trained in.
Well, if you engage in like classical platform debate, that is the way you're supposed to present your information. That is the standard. You do your research for the debate, and then you present it as if you're teaching the audience about the subject matter and why your position is correct regarding that position. And sometimes it's not even your position. You just have to find an argument in there that you can make. I mean, usually you get your whether you're taking the positive or the negative assigned to you when you do structured debate, like in schools and stuff. I don't know if any of you all were ever on a debate team, but you didn't get to pick whether you were a positive or negative. And you had to present it like as if you were giving a academic lecture or something along that line.
Well, it's strange to hear him talk about the flow of the conversation or something like that. And Jonas, I'd 100% agree with you. If it was a discussion rather than a debate, I think that in a discussion you do want that back and forth and that flow, and there would be less of this sort of I'm right and you're wrong. But I think when you get into debate, especially sort of high level debate, I think that you do have to come at it at least a bit as I am correct and here is why, or else you're really doing yourself a disservice. That's not to say you can't admit, hey, I don't know this, or I could be wrong about this.
It was less about that. It was more
Okay.
it was more like that you were instead of kind of like you wanted to define what he meant by a god at the beginning. Terms like that never got established for other words that you were using, and so you kind of seem to be talking past each other a lot, and getting
which
frustrated
is the entire
at each other,
point of precept.
getting frustrated at it. So
I think that so here's one of the problems that I saw. He just wouldn't pin down what his god was. So that led to problems like later on when I was talking about the Blarney Stone as an example of something unfalsifiable. He was like, he actually sort of semi-defined God. He sort of said it had the attributes of omnipotence, but then said that the Blarney Stone was just God. The problem there is the Blarney Stone doesn't have omnipotence. It just creates universes. So then he went on to say the Blarney Stone was just God, and he's clearly wrong because the attributes are not the same. So it felt to me straight off the bat, because in my opening I said, well, the first thing we've got to do is define what we're talking about. We've got to define God, because that's so important so we don't talk past one another. And he just flat out refused to do so. I think that's incredibly disingenuous, because it's like having a debate about ghosts and then refusing to say what ghosts are. How are you possibly going to interact with somebody who won't define the subject of the topic? And knowing that the word God has millions of different interpretations,
Literally.
and he used at least two within that debate. He used that God was omnipotent and that God was anything that could create a universe, which that conflicts with one another, or at least it there are things that could fall into either of those categories and not to the other.
So one of the big things precepts like to throw out there is, God can't do anything that's outside of his nature.
Do you think he was a precept? I don't think Ronnie was a precept. I think he was an evidentialist.
Well, regardless, I mean, I have never heard an apologist.
The debate was an evidential debate, though.
Right. I think he was an evidentialist.
Right.
I don't know. He could still be a precept and be engaging in an evidential debate.
Right.
So the
big thing is when they're talking about.
Sorry, Wilbur. I just want to clarify this real quick. A precept presupposes God for intelligibility. So the way that you would come at it is more. Less, God is the only thing that could create the universe, and more, in order to reason anything at all, we need God. Sorry, go ahead, Wilbur.
Yeah, no, and you're not wrong. I guess where I'm coming from on this point is you constantly, whether they're evidentialists or foundationalists or precept or whatever, there's always this idea that God being omnipotent is really just God can do anything that is within his nature. Right? Well, okay. But me too. I can do anything that's within my nature. That's within my capability. Right? And
like a
and if you're
tautology, right?
gonna make that the definition, everything is omnipotent. And
I don't know.
at which
Defining
point, why
God
is God special?
Defining it as it being able to do anything within its nature is just a tautology. It's saying it can do the things that it can do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't get us anywhere.
right. Yeah, you're left going, yeah, well, no shit.
To that, I would wonder, like, at what identifies God or puts God in a position that you would want to worship them. What makes them different than just like a reason for the universe to begin or something like that? You know, why would you? What would push it to the point where you have to worship it rather than them just being a more powerful being than you are?
Right.
So
Yeah.
Well, that's like the question of like, would aliens be God kind of
Right,
thing if
yeah.
they were extra dimensional beings that were outside space
And
time?
would God be an alien?
Right.
Right, and
But
would
then
it
they
be an
make
alien or would it be good?
But then they make the moral argument, and at which point I say, okay, well, why ought you do what a cop tells you to do? Well, they have a gun and a taser and mace, and they
The
can
ability to
wreck
put you
you.
in jail for a long time,
Yeah,
lock you
and
away.
they're allowed to do that. So that's an ought.
Right.
Well, I think
You ought do what they say so they don't fuck you up.
yeah, that doesn't sort of conquer the problem though. It's that the whole thing is a series of ifs. If you don't want to be thrown in prayal and fucked up, as you said, then you ought to do this.
Right.
If you don't care, if you want your life to be crap, you hate yourself or whatever, it doesn't conquer that ought statement. That's the problem with getting an ought from an is, right? That's the whole Hume's guillotine kind of thing.
Exactly.
But I don't see a problem with that. Of saying, hey, if you want a good life where you're happy and enjoying things and things like that, we can make some objective statements about what you ought to do to have that life. And that's the whole idea of sort of meta-ethical relativism.
Theocratic culture is perfectly willing to cull that out of the population, though. That an opposition to their ideology, they're actually willing to actually cull that out so that you have a genetic we have that a bit, a genetic predisposition to have supernatural beliefs. It's just based on being a human, you know?
Right.
Yeah, that sort of God-shaped hole that we appeal to. Yeah.
That's kind of what I mean. So, like, if you look at Bree, right, to a fundamentalist, Bree ought not be Bree, because God will mess you up for that.
Well, my morality is not based upon that. It's based about well-being, and Bree is great for Bree's well-being. So fuck them. If they can't present when you're claiming an objective standard and you can't present any evidence that an objective standard actually exists, I don't care, because this society that we're in all relies on us working together in such a way that the society progresses. And if you want a society that is going to work together and be beneficial for everybody, then there's certain things you ought to do. And one of those things is not make Bree feel like shit, because that's not good for anybody's well-being at all, not even the people doing it. So fuck them.
Well, yeah, because Bree's identity has no bearing whatsoever on me.
Well, it's not only that. It's also like it's not good for Brie, but it's also not good for the people doing it. Because when you're part of the human species and you're othering people, right? You're basically going, you are over there something else. And I've got plenty of that in my lifetime. Maya, as a African American woman, plenty of that, right? You know,
No
this
doubt.
you are something else other.
As a bi
And
man,
right,
I
absolutely.
get it.
There's a million reasons why people do it, and it is bad for this. Like, there may come a time where the entire human species has to work together, that we have to overcome things, and the more that we push people to other, the more division we have, the more we say, hey, you're not part of this society, you're off on the fringe, the more we are doing a disservice to ourselves. It is detrimental to the people doing its well-being.
Oops, sorry.
Same
I
with
agree.
slavery. It's not
And
just
actually,
detrimental to the slaves' well-being; it's detrimental to the people's doing it well-being.
Well, it's
and
it's
actually, I
locked
think
on
that's what
eugenics,
Maya
right?
was talking about with politics.
Yeah.
I do want to say
talking
something.
about, yeah.
Oh, just 1 second, Mayor. I do want to say something quickly. Automated Christian, I've only got 6 slots, mate, and I can't let anybody else in, so I'm really sorry. But if someone wants to,
if you guys would like an after dinner snack, I can drop out until you finish eating the Christian.
It is a pre-sup, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
I want to have a. Well, I want to have a real conversation, but I can never have a conversation with Ultimated, unfortunately. And I'm so sorry, Ultimated. I would love to have an actual conversation with you, but every time I talk to you, you demand that I accept God first, and it's not going to happen.
I don't think I've ever talked to Ultimated.
Seriously? No. Give me 5 minutes. No, you gotta you gotta talk to this person. I'll just be in like the back room. 5 minutes. I have to say
5
this.
minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes. Okay.
You
want to
talk to me, Ultimated?
Honestly, Maya.
I
would rather have you for 5 minutes.
No, I'm so delightful.
I will talk to Ultimated for 5 minutes. Okay, I'll put you backstage, Maya. Just 1 second. Welcome, Ultimated Judeo-Christian. How are you doing today? Hold on, just let me get my note paper and
right. You missed the key points. Ultimated Judeo-Christian YouTuber.
Just 1 second. You're not going to say hello. You're just going to. Oh, I got your name wrong.
Before I remember you.
I'm sorry. Your name is cut off there. So Ultimated Christian YouTuber. Okay.
Ultimated Judeo-Christian YouTuber.
Ultimated Judeo-Christian YouTuber. Sure. Bit of a mouthful, but no worries. Welcome. How you doing?
It's not really. I'm doing good. I don't appreciate the slanderous comments, firstly, as I was backstage.
Whose comments, sorry?
So, your slanderous comments towards me? You were gaslighting.
Comments? What gaslighting?
You know what I'm talking about? I've only got like 5 minutes, don't I? So I'll get straight to it.
Well, I mean, we'll go until, sort of Maya's had enough. I'm sure she'll let me know. That's not a problem.
I wanted to. I heard some of your engagement with Skylar Fiction, right?
Yes.
Well, let's. Sorry, Brie. I do apologize. I just want to know what I've been gaslighting about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like, this is a very serious accusation.
Yeah,
what am I gaslighting about?
Absolutely.
In regards to having conversations, I do know how to have a conversation. However, from my memory, you removed me from the stream as you were interrupting me as I was addressing somebody else. So just bear that in mind.
So the problem here is that you will not have just a decent, normal talking to somebody conversation without them accepting God first. Am I wrong about that?
You are. I state that.
So we can have a normal
conversation
right now.
You're not wrong about that at all.
No. When I lay out an argument and you want to switch the topic, then just admit to the truthfulness of my argument first, so we can conclude that point.
And
I
what's the
don't
conclusion
usually-
of your argument?
Nobody
What's
has
the
that
conclusion?
kind of standard for engaging in discussion.
Yeah,
Nobody says,
nobody.
"Hey, you have to accept what I believe before I'll talk to you." That's a weird request.
I don't. That's not
just a
my
second,
request.
What's the conclusion of your argument?
So I've got it in the private chats. Judeo-Christian
okay.
presuppositionalism follows. So I'll read out.
Yes. So
premise, conclusion.
The conclusion is Judeo-Christian presuppositionalism is true. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that would be accepting God, correct?
Yes, but I can lay out the premises first.
And before we go on, you demand that I accept that, correct?
Well, it's up to you. I haven't laid.
No.
I haven't expressed the premises first. You
Before
need
we
to allow me to start from premise one.
Allow
me to
before
start from
we
premise
continue,
one.
I have to accept that conclusion, correct?
You have to accept the definitions.
Well, I can accept the definitions, but you believe that the definitions make it true. So that Judeo-Christian presuppositionalism is true, I have to accept that as a true statement before we continue. Is that a correct thing for me to say?
Yeah, everybody knows that to be indirectly or directly true.
Yeah, so
if you
nothing about the statement I make that I have to accept God as true. You've just agreed to all of that, even though you said that that is slander. So how is that slander if it is correct?
You're misrepresenting me. The argument, the conclusion is Judeo-Christian presuppositionalism. Everybody knows God exists, but in the case of our biblical God, more specifically,
I don't.
everybody, yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No,
everybody would indirectly. Hang on.
Oh, yes, good.
No, I don't.
Well, let's just get through the arguments. This is you're possibly you're possibly running out the clock, Mark.
No.
I'll start from premise one.
What clock? There's no clock. The only clock is showing me how long I've been
He's talking
live.
about the 5 minutes that Maya said. If you look in the side chat, she said she's not worried about the time.
Or whenever I'm done. Okay, so
we're going to engage with you.
Let's go throughout this syllogism. Okay, so you've got
we're going to go more than 5 minutes before you explain why your premises are true.
Well, let's go through the syllogism. Premise one, biblically God exists. I reject that premises. Completely reject it. It's rejected.
Well, you've just contradicted yourself because you presuppose premise one to reject something. So in order to say that something is wrong, you have to presuppose
true to say it's false. That's weird.
For you to say that something is wrong, you have to presuppose our God.
No,
so you've just contradicted yourself.
I did not presuppose the truth of your God at all to reject that. I rejected it basis on logic and not any kind of God statement. Now I can presuppose the concept
logic and
of God.
truth are one and the same.
Basically, evaluate.
Hang on, you've made a claim. You've made a claim. You're monologuing. Don't monologue. Don't monologue. Allow me to address your claim first. You're monologuing, so
you didn't answer my question.
So, I don't have to presuppose the truth of the concept in order to presuppose the concept. So I reject first premises. I reject it completely.
You've contradicted yourself again. God is not. I've already explained this to you from our last interaction. God is not a conception. A universal conception is contradictory. God is concrete, pure actuality. So again, for you to say that some, hang on.
So
for you to say
the
that
whole
something is
argument
wrong,
is God is real, and if you say otherwise, you're lying.
Yeah, you're either lying or you are ignorant on the definition of God. God is more than just an all-powerful.
So you're lying or stupid.
I didn't
so
say that necessarily.
So ultimated, you're actually committing the logical fallacy of begging the question. You have the conclusion of your argument in the premises. You're basically putting forward that God exists, which is the conclusion. Without you're actually interrupting me now. You're actually interrupting me now. Now all right. If you unmute yourself again, I will kick you.
You're misrepresenting my argument.
Okay, so I won't be able to finish here. So, all right, you're done then.
Much rather have Maya here.
Yeah. Sorry.
I think most of us would.
Yeah, if you're gonna unmute yourself, then you're gone.
The fact that you let him talk for that whole time when he said, don't interrupt me, and you let him talk, and you started to respond, and he's like, oh, no, you can't talk.
So this is a simple logical fallacy. He's begging the question. He's basically saying God exists, and then going on to a syllogism which says that it is true that God exists, that the presupposition that he already made is true. He already made that presupposition, and he already considers it true in the premises. So the whole thing he doesn't understand is that when you present a syllogism, the other people have to agree to the premises, or at least in principle, for the conclusion to be true. So if you reject any of the premises, the conclusion cannot be true. There's no reason why we should accept the first premises. Biblically, God exists. There's no reason for that. If he's saying, hey, he exists in the Bible, therefore it's true, again, he's begging the question that the Bible is in fact true. It's a nonsensical syllogism. It's so nonsensical.
Well, I mean, just the whole way that he comes at logic, like, how do you have to accept something in order to reject it? I mean, I'm assuming that he rejects Islam. Does that mean he also accepts it? I have never heard anyone argue that way.
They're borrowing from Brahman.
Well, he thinks that everybody knows that God exists, and they're suppressing the knowledge. So I've sort of talked to him before, and I said, do you think I'm lying? And he's like, yes, you are a liar. You know that God exists, kind of thing. When you press him on,
gaslighter, when he's telling you what
right. And the whole thing about slander, that he does expect you to acknowledge that God exists before he will actually go on with any kind of conversation. When you sort of get over that hurdle, and he's more and more stopping going there, you sort of get to, well, how do you know that everybody knows God exists? He then references the Bible kind of thing. So it's sort of a big circular argument. Right. So it's
look, ultimately, this guy, like every precept, honestly, like the entire argument is, you don't know everything, therefore God.
I mean, that's got to be the gaps. I mean, in argument from incredulity. But
I mean, definitely got the gaps there. But and I know, precepts are really big with I forget what the actual verse is, but the Bible does say, like a fool. Only a fool says that there is no God, and you're lying to yourself. And I get
Romans 1:20.
Sure. It was just really his take on. I mean, okay, I'm going to come at you with logical premises or a logical argument, and then not know anything about logical arguments.
Right.
Somebody told me I should have premises, and the premises,
So does
no logician would
grant the premise without actually accepting this position? Can you say, I grant the premise that he won't let you get past that?
No, AJ tried that. In fact, he sort of said, no, I do believe in God, kind of thing, just to try and get past that hurdle. And he just sort of petered out and just sort of went, well, you believe in God, God's true, so acknowledge that, you are now a theist and all of this stuff. So he doesn't even consider the idea of granting a premise as a hypothetical. Like he doesn't understand that.
Right.
No, they can't.
It's
he doesn't
understand how
They
any of it
can't
works.
do that.
Yeah.
Because if it's possible that anything other than the Christian God is the essence of everything, if it's possible, well, then their God is not necessary. And if it's not necessary, it could be wrong.
No.
And they
I
cannot
could be
grant that.
wrong. No, I could be wrong. My faith could be wrong. My whole world would fall apart, and everything, that I think I believe. If this is wrong, then I am wrong, and they're never going to make that.
Right.
Well, I think
Right,
the
but Maya,
funniest.
you're okay with being wrong.
Just a second, Wilbur. I think the funniest and most accurate thing I've heard describing his tactic is the Jedi mind trick. That's the most accurate thing. No, you do believe in God. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
You gotta wait for him to do it. Say,
Yeah, you do believe
Yeah.
in God. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you do believe in God. It's not something that's going to convince anybody. It's
No.
God grounds everything.
But they're not interested in convincing anybody.
Of course he does.
The only thing, I mean, look, Greg Bonson flat out said the whole purpose of Presup isn't to prove God. It's to shut non-believers up. It's to make them, stop talking, essentially.
Well, I don't mind engaging with pre-suppers. It's just they're so they won't let you talk. They like Darth Dawkins.
Right.
It's sort of, if they engaged in a way that actually was okay, let's have a back and forth and an actual conversation about it. But I'm open to the possibility of one doing that, but they never do. They're always just interrupt you, don't let you speak. This gaslighting technique that they have of, oh, well, you do believe and you just don't know it kind of thing. I mean, get out of here. It's ridiculous.
Evidentialists are more fun to me. That's just my opinion.
Well, they have to be like that, though, because they can't hold that position unless they are like that, right?
Well,
right.
I mean, they could just sort of calmly say, hey, that's my position, but, they never do. I think it's because, sort of when you're talking, it certainly sounds more reasonable to say, hey, what sort of evidence do you have than this, than oh, yes, you believe what I think, and I know you do. And, I think they know just how ridiculous it sounds, like just how absolutely ridiculous it sounds.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
And I hate to give props to evidentialists, but I mean, really, at least they're trying to bring data to the table. At least they're making an attempt. And as silly as it is with people like, Ken Ham and even like Kent Hovind, well, not so much Hovind, but at least they're making an effort to offer data and stuff that you can look at, and books you can read to find out what their positions are and rebut them properly.
Right.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the sort of pigeon chess analogy, but it's almost as if someone's saying, hey, because I own the table, I win. That's basically presuppositionalism to me, like saying, hey, because I'm going to claim this is my table, as in logic and reason is all based upon my God. That's my table, so I win the game automatically.
Basically.
So why would you
because I own the table, so I make the rules and I can move my pawns. I am allowed en passant, and you are not. And yes, that's a nerdy chess joke.
Wow.
It is. That's kind of an obscure rule kind of thing. That's right up there with like the king not being able to move through check, not just into check. But never mind.
Right.
I used to play chess ages ago. Haven't played for.
I haven't played in so long.
Yeah.
No, me either.
One thing I did want to bring up from the stream, though, and it got me so hot and flustered, was the whole question of AI and things. I was so, like, Mayor at that point said, let's get Mark in. I'm like, yes, I want to talk AI. I want to talk AI. I want to talk the singularity. Does everyone know what the singularity is?
For AI?
I mean, as far as cosmology, I do.
Yeah.
Right. And so hold on to that thought, definitely. So the AI singularity is basically the point at which AI designs itself. So if you imagine this escalation of intelligence, essentially, you build a AI and it designs a better AI, and incredibly rapidly, and that process keeps happening at an incredibly rapid pace. You're basically talking about a sort of event horizon that we don't even know where that will lead. It's called the singularity because nobody knows what's going to happen afterwards. People speculate what's going to happen beyond there, but no one knows. It is frightening because it is like we can speculate and stuff, but no one has any idea. It's something we can't see beyond. Because
suddenly they got creative forces, right? It's wild.
Right. We cannot put ourselves into the position of the AI designing itself because we are not able to cognitively wrap our heads around what it will do. It is so far out of our league. And
are there any other Dune nerds in this chat?
Not really. I mean, I've read a bit of it. I know the story. I think I read the first book years and years and years ago. I heard
I can't get into it.
I read Dune in 2002.
So you're
everybody
talking about,
should get into.
You're
Dune,
talking about the outlawed AIs and stuff. Is that what you're alluding to?
It
or
does.
Technology at all kind of thing. They
no, it absolutely gets very deeply into that.
Yeah.
And the idea of AI is sort of, I mean, it's the ultimate logic computational device, right?
Yeah. Well, I wrote a short paper when I was it was more like a science communication paper, but I wrote a short one when I was doing my first year of uni kind of thing, and it was about the redundant human. So it was basically, I think that at the point where AI passes the singularity, it is entirely possible at that point humans are going to be 100% redundant. There is nothing we are going to be needed for. Computers and robotic systems will be able to do everything better than us. Humans will be basically superfluous. What does that mean in the long run? And that's the whole point. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea what will happen. And that's the scariest part. If we knew they would be a danger, right? We knew for sure, hey, if we do these AI, they're going to be a danger. It would be one thing. But the whole idea is we have no idea whether they're going to be dangerous or not. It has been postulated that they will, humans will become some sort of a moral guidance system, like in synergy with the computers kind of thing, or the AI, that we may be able to make moral decisions that they can't. But that's just, nobody really knows. It may be that we can keep up with them by using implanted computer systems into our brains, like making a biomechanical brain for humans, and we will then transcend humanity and work with AI. They might destroy us. They might ignore us completely. Nobody knows what the outcome's going to be.
I don't think they ignore us completely. I think we're too beneficial to have on their side.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
So,
it's just, I have no idea.
Because so far as I know, they can't. They think analytically, so they can't think abstractly like we can. AIs.
But once that singularity happens and they can design better AIs, will they be able to
design one that can think abstractly, though?
Probably, yes.
Well, I mean, they'll.
So I think Bree actually is.
I mean, they would design whatever's needed, right? I mean,
Sorry?
if one needs to think abstract, they would design one that could think abstractly if one was needed to think abstractly. But if they don't value that, or if it's
That's
not
the whole
needed,
point. We just don't
Honestly,
know.
that's what Herbert was talking about in the original Dune series. Is the idea that if you leave it up to just a specific if then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're gonna fuck up a bunch of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're gonna do stuff that even based on the if then kind of sorry, I'm throwing my hands around a lot.
Algorithmic is the word you're looking for.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. If you're leaving it up to an algorithmic logic, you're gonna miss things like empathy, things like just the nuances of human communication and the meanings behind our actions and all these various things. Because let's be honest, everything we do is based on so many different things that are not algorithmic.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And yet, the fact of the matter is, like right now, police investigators are actually more effective at pointing out lies than lie detector machine, because the machine is based on nothing but physiological responses. And the fact of the matter is, the human brain and the human biology and everything that is us is based on 4.5 billion years of research.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got to interrupt, Robert. I don't believe that. I don't think the police can detect lies better than a lie detector test. That's why they send people to lie detector tests. Okay, do you have a citation on that one? I would be incredibly surprised.
Not offhand.
I would say that would be
just
true.
1 second, Jonas. Just 1 second. I do apologize, mate. I've just got to get Big Fat Brup in here. I believe.
On my screen while you guys are talking, I'm just going through an AI image generator, seeing what your all's names pull up when I type them in.
Oh, really? Sorry, Jonas, go ahead and I'll add. Is Breeze? What are you doing? Oh,
yeah, this is just one of those AI image generators. I typed in your screen name, Beast,
and that came up.
We're going to see what it generates.
Oh, okay.
So basically, what I was thinking was, well, people are, number one, used to people, but we can also cross-reference everything, all of the information. We know whether or not, what evidence there is to suggest that this person was doing something or was at a certain location at a certain time. There's way more information going into the system. So even if it's an inferior system, a human trying to discern a lie versus an AI, we have more data points in order to insert into that system to get out a more accurate result. So I would say that is a potential. But also, in general, the whole AI thing, singularity deal, it depends on what, it all comes down to value, what they value, because what you're discussing is kind of how, morally, using a human for moral guidance, why would a artificial intelligence that has nothing to do really with humans or is entirely based off of we went through evolution in order to discern what our moral code is, why would an AI even share remotely close to the same moral code or care to value humans' moral code to discern things. It doesn't make sense to me that an AI would even want that.
Well, it would take on the appearance of caring for whatever we programmed it to care for or not.
Well, at the first iteration, yes, but sort of when you get like a million iterations into the AI designing more complex AI, we have no idea what that will end up as.
Right.
Right. So where are we at that millionth iteration?
Where are we?
We're dead.
Well, not dead.
We're gone.
We're just sort of redundant at that point.
Well,
We're
I mean,
just
even
sort of,
Right.
but
We're
even
redundant,
within the
so
animal
we
kingdom,
no longer exist.
but even within the animal kingdom, when we see empathy, it's within the group. It's not usually
Correct.
not outside of the group. And it's not to say that I don't feel empathy for my dog or whatever. But like, if my dog's
it can be.
yeah, I mean, we're more likely to save the human than the dog. I mean,
Sure.
that goes, just broadly speaking. But so I would imagine the robot. I don't know. I mean, because it's so hard to what if this because we don't know what is the original thing.
Who's running hair clippers in their background?
Who's running what?
It sounds like somebody has a set of hair clippers running in their background.
It's me. I'm shaving my head. Just relax, bro. It might. It might be.
What are you shaving off of your head?
I never said my head. I never said my head.
Maya, that's your name.
Okay,
Honestly,
what are you
Mark,
shaving off your ass?
Good on you for that.
No, it might be some person cutting stuff. Just ignore it. Just accept it.
So what is
Hang on a
this?
sec. I'll mute and see if it.
It's what an AI thinks that Maya looks like.
AIs think.
Did it vanish then, Leo?
Well, that's what we were kind of discussing.
I still hear it.
Okay, but did it vanish for a second? Hold on. I'll mute and see if it vanishes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there like a leaf blower running in your background or something?
Yeah, I think the gardeners are doing stuff in the background. So just.
Hello, my name is Jose. I am here to blow leaf off your lawn. I'm sorry, that was really mean. I should.
That is really racist.
So I'm just gonna.
Okay, that wasn't racist.
Throw this out here.
I think it's kind of racist.
I don't think that's
what Frank Herbert talked about when it comes to AI, right? Is the idea that, look, the fact of the matter is every situation is distinct, right? And when you apply zero tolerance and, algorithmic approvals of certain behaviors, you lose all of the context, right?
Why does it need the context?
You
for
lose
humans?
Nuance.
Why does it need any nuance for humans?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, if you're talking about an AI that's progressed that far, that quick, and I'm not saying it does. I'm saying it may not have any need for empathy in humans or that kind of understanding of human behavior at all. At that point, it's off doing its own thing. It probably won't care. But I can't say that for sure because that's the whole point. The whole point about the AI singularity is once it happens, no one knows. It's all out the window. It's so beyond our ability to comprehend that we can only purely speculate what's going to happen.
Sure.
But I think that at that point, it's not going to have any use for human empathy or intuition or anything like that. It will be beyond those concepts.
Which makes it inhuman.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think
what
inhuman is compatible with humanity.
Well, wait, hold on.
I think
aren't dogs inhuman?
Yes.
They're
Dogs are
non-human.
pretty compatible with
Well,
humanity.
yeah, but they're also built.
They're
over the same-
non-human. That's
they're
not
also-
the same thing.
I would say they're
also
inhuman.
evolved via
It's the same thing.
method.
They're not the same thing.
How are they different?
Inhuman,
What does it mean to be inhuman?
to be human is to be incapable of understanding or encompassing what it is to be human. Dogs actually do a very good job of that. They're the only non-primates that will follow a human gaze, right? They're literally the only non-primates that will look where you're looking.
Well, I think there's probably other animals that would
Wait,
do that too.
what?
There's not.
Hold on.
I'm almost
What's the
certain that
claim?
there is.
There's not.
We're talking about.
I
animals
would bet
here.
a lot of
What's
money
the
that
claim?
there is.
Well,
Dogs
Apparently,
are
the
point
dog is
being,
the only
They
non-primate
do
animal
that
will, like,
because they've been living
understand
with
what
us
it is
for
a human is looking at.
100,000 years.
Well, it hasn't been that long. Dogs have been domesticated, I think, over the last like 30 or 40,000 years.
30,000, and yeah, they were the first animals that we domesticated, and they have been with us a long time.
Were they?
Their
Mhm.
Is it
biology-
actually dogs that were the first animal that humans domesticated?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. A long, way before, like orders of magnitude before we domesticated anything else. Like 30,000 years ago, and then we domesticated. I believe goats were the next animals that we domesticated, and that was like 14,000 years ago. So,
Yep.
Well, according to
That's
just a
true.
quick Google search, most sources are saying that goats or sheep are probably the first animals domesticated by humans. Well, Wikipedia says dogs and sheep, so and that seems to line up with what I've heard from people I know in the field, is that there probably isn't like one single animal that was the first for humans to domesticate. There are probably some set or group of animals that we domesticated, amongst which dogs, sheep, goats, I mean, potentially even cattle could have been in that category. Horses.
Multiple origins for some groups too. Cattle have been domesticated 3 times, right?
Yeah, by different,
dogs have been
by
domesticated
different
at least
human
twice.
groups. Yep.
The fact of the matter is, domesticating animals makes them more like us.
I don't know if I would say that's what domestication is.
What I will say is
personally,
that domesticating animals makes the subjects them to the same types of pressures that we put ourselves under as humans, because we isolate ourselves from natural pressures and selectively. Yeah, well, not so much these days, but for a long time we did selectively breed which lineages we wanted to maintain, but we don't do it so much with people now. But we've doubled down on doing it with organisms with the domestication process. Look at where we are with dogs and how much variety we are looking at.
We do it with more than just animals.
Yeah.
Look at corn.
Crops, absolutely.
Shit.
Yeah, the wild mustard
broccoli, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, cabbage,
just
collard greens. They're all the same species.
It shows
just something to think about. Just something to think about. After the AI singularity, it may be the humans domesticated.
Okay, so what is this AI singularity?
Okay, so it's basically when the AI gets to the point of having the intelligence to design a more efficient and better AI. And oh my God, there's people hammering upstairs. Once that happens, the next one will iteratively design a more superior one. And this process presumably will happen very, very fast and get faster as the next one is more efficient and the next one is more efficient. So the reason why we call it a singularity is because we can't even envisage where that process will end up after, thousands upon millions or millions of iterations kind of thing. We don't know.
It's the point that happens.
Right. That will be so far out of our ability to comprehend that we can only purely speculate what happens beyond that point. Because
could it be happening right now?
No, that's not happening. There's no
progress towards that
aware
point
of it
is
happening.
happening.
Why do you think it wouldn't happen in
right
isolation where we weren't aware?
because why wouldn't it happen in isolation so we wouldn't be aware? I think that's incredibly unlikely. I think that the cutting edge of people doing AI, it's nowhere near that advanced enough to design a superior AI. It's not something.
I'll be right back, folks.
That even cutting edge AI is capable of doing.
I have no. I'm not up to date on AI. I'm curious and asking silly questions.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, hey, it is possible that some evil genius out there has designed an AI that is capable of doing that, and keeping him in his secret volcano hideaway.
Right.
We got no reason why we would think that, and yeah, I don't know how that's sort of an unfalsifiable claim. How would you?
Yeah, but hold on. What I'm saying was maybe an AI has, and not an evil genius, but an AI itself has started working on another AI that's better than it, and without the people who designed the initial AI knowing that it's doing it.
Yeah, not really, because we sort of understand.
That's the plot to the second Avengers movie. So in case you didn't catch on,
I think Bree's just fucking with me right now.
Yeah, no, I'm giving you the plot of Age of Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron.
I was going to see how far I could get into it, but because that's what the movie's about. Is the AI started building another AI, and yeah.
But I don't think we've got like an outer space stick for it with the one of the Infinity Stones in it. So once we get an Infinity Stone, I'll start to get worried, Bree. Okay, but. Yeah.
No, you have to assume the Infinity Stone exists before you can accept that it's
okay.
I gotta be honest. I don't even think this whole AI singularity thing is a thing that's gonna happen. Like I don't see technology becoming that advanced. Yeah. I don't see humans allowing technology to develop beyond what humans need it for. I don't think humans would develop technology beyond what it is that they're going to need it for.
Yeah.
I don't think humans have really developed technology that far beyond what they would need.
We got somebody waiting who is P-Town, who's a theist. Does anyone want to step out so we can talk to P-Town for a little bit? It's okay if you don't. No obligation at all. And P-Town, I'm really sorry. We've only got 6 slots because I'm cheap.
I'll step out.
You don't have to, Maya, honestly. It's fine. So sorry, P-Town, we're full at the moment. I do apologize. If a spot opens up, I'll message you on Discord and let you know.
Well, I don't have any problem with P-Town hanging out
here to take my place if I can come back.
Yeah, sure. I really don't mind. No, P-Town's good. Yeah. He's good. He just said he's good. He's just chilling. No problem at all, Pete. I really appreciate it, mate. Not a problem.
Just
he's actually
in the private chat, and we'll read what you're saying, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So P-Town's a pretty chill theist too. I've had a couple of conversations with him. Really, really good and really interesting. Actually, I've got to get you on the right kind of theist.
You did a stream with him not too long ago, right?
Sorry?
Didn't you do a stream with P-Town not too long ago?
Who did?
You.
You did.
Yeah, I did too. I did one with him just by himself, and the second one was him and
I was in one with P-Town and you, and was that here?
Yeah. That was the first one. Yeah, he sort of said, "Hey, it's cool to be an open room." So yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, that was an after show that we did that I talked you into doing. I think it's like I said, "Hey, they're doing an after show over on the opposing positions side."
I usually don't do open rooms and open mics and things like that. I get bullied into it by wonderful people who just like Maya annoy me
and me.
Like absolutely. Yes.
Thanks again, Mark.
No, that's okay. It's all good. It's actually really good to talk to you guys. And Scarlett wouldn't let me on because he's afraid of the sexiness of my head. So,
I hear you. I shave my head too between Memorial Day and Labor Day.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Because summer's
I don't know if Mark knows what that is. He's not an American.
fair enough.
I'm just assuming it's sort of it's holidays.
Memorial Day is what is it? The
May to
last Monday,
September.
the last Monday in May, and I think
Yeah.
Labor Day is the first Monday in September.
Yeah, they kind of frame the
Okay.
summer.
Or is it the second Monday?
First.
It's
Okay.
May to September. So approximately a third of the year.
It's about 90, I think like 92 to 94 days between Memorial Day and Labor Day, something like that.
Yeah.
So Local Machine had a couple of suggestions if you are interested in the singularity. I have not read the book he's talking about. This is Local Machine is saying the singularity is near when humans transcend biology. And if speaking of AI, check out the game Detroit Become Human. I do not like those kind of games. Sorry?
I've seen that played. It's a cool game. It's more about when it's like AI becoming sentient and living alongside humans. They're not really trying to take us over. We're just kind of doing what we do, freaking out because change and trying to destroy them all.
Yeah. So there's an interesting thing. I'm going to bring up Frank Herbert again because I'm not going to lie. Arguably my favorite philosopher.
Who?
Frank Herbert.
Yeah,
the guy who wrote the original Dune series.
Oh yeah, I don't read like fictional stuff. I don't read stuff like that. So
so here's the thing. Like really good I hate most sci-fi, right? Really good sci-fi examines the human condition and the things that are relevant to how we live. And in Frank Herbert's original series, there was an entire, like, almost holy war against AI, right? It wasn't based on the idea of, like, oh, AI is going to take us out. It's going to be Skynet. It's going to blow us all up, right? It was, we're going to become too dependent on it and fail to pursue what we can do. It will limit us in our own capabilities.
That's already happened.
Isn't it the plot of WALL-E?
What's that?
Isn't it the plot of WALL-E?
Yeah. Well, I think that's already happened. Like we already depend on calculators.
No, it has already happened. That's troubling. I don't remember anybody's phone number.
Is it? I mean, the whole idea that you can use a calculator to do things that you couldn't possibly do in your brain is actually very comforting to me. It's something that I'm going, that's a good thing.
That's fine.
But is it true that a calculator, like your common calculator, can do things that the human brain can calculate things that the human brain can?
No.
I don't know if it's true that like your common Texas Instruments calculator can actually calculate things that the human can't. It might be able to calculate those things faster than a human, but I don't think there's any calculation that like a Texas Instruments calculator can do that a human couldn't. I think that there might be certain operations that supercomputers can do that humans can't, because it would, and even then that's only going to be humans can't in virtue of humans don't have enough time to sit there and write out all of the processes to solve the equation than it is that humans don't have the like cognitive capability to do it. They don't have the time to sit down and actually do it.
Right.
That's what
there's limitations.
I get your point, Leo. I get your point.
Based on our mortality.
Hold it. The whole point is that our entire society is dependent on computers. There is absolutely no way in hell it can function if you take away computers, You would look like
True.
the entire system would go down in a crashing war of flames. People's systems go down in businesses, and they have to do paper stuff for like an hour, and it is a chaotic and senseless and entirely devastating process to the company. You've got no idea what it's like once the network system goes down inside of a company. It is like Armageddon. Sorry, you may do. I do. Yeah. I guess I'm speaking.
I know what you're saying, though. Yeah, no, Mark. I know what you're saying.
We already rely on computer systems so much. It's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But
we literally have cables laid along the ocean floor because of it. Like, yes, we very much depend on it.
But the thing is, Wilbur, I disagree. I think that's a fantastic thing. We're enhancing our abilities with technology that's been provided by science. I think it is amazing. I think the internet is one of the most amazing things, and when you understand how it works, it's incredible. It's like a networked routing system that transfers information sort of just one tiny bit at a time in such an organized and complex way that still has underlying systems of order to it.
And I'm for that.
Computation.
Where it becomes an issue, and this is what Herbert talked about, was when we decide to let those computer systems, those algorithms, make our decisions for us.
I don't think that we'll ever reach. I got to be honest, like a lot of these like sci-fi wacky ideas about what computers are going to do in the future, I think are almost all entirely false. AI is never going to like surpass humans.
We're
or,
already doing it.
Suppress humans and all this stuff.
That's why
because
I don't
all
teach
that it is our systems developed by humans to better serve their existence. And I think in 1,000 years from now, computers are still going to be the same thing. They're going to be things developed by humans to aid their existence. They're not going to be these like supreme deities suppressing it. Like this is just not a thing that's going to happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I agree. And Herbert was never talking about that. Never, ever approached that. What he was talking about was the idea of us being over-reliant on those algorithmic.
But what would that mean?
Computer.
What would it mean to be over-reliant on like computation and artificial intelligence and all of these things?
Okay.
What would it mean to be over-reliant?
Here's a great example. Zero tolerance policies in schools. Okay. When I was growing up, when I was young, back when dirt was rocks, I got in a fight with a kid in my gym class, right? I beat the hell out of him. And I didn't get in trouble because it was entirely his fault. Right? I look at, how do I put this? 20 years later, 25 years later, my kid got suspended from school for the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And it was based on a zero tolerance policy. It was, these are the
implemented.
No, hold on. These are the rules, and this is what happens.
I feel like an anti-woke argument is coming down here at some point. I gotta be honest.
Not.
Okay, I hope not.
Absolutely not.
I'm sorry.
I'm the last person who's going to throw out. I'm the last person who's going to throw out an anti-woke argument. The only thing I will say about
is it my time to read?
Is that it's bad marketing.
Well, I want to know why Leo thinks it's impossible that AIs get to.
Well, I don't think it's impossible.
Or you
I
don't think it
it's
will
not
happen?
going to happen.
Because a lot of people said that an AI wouldn't be able to, say, play a game better than the E players that are out there. And the Blue, I can't remember the what's the name of the Deep Blue did a Dota 2
lost to Kasparov.
AI. I'm sorry.
Deep
Oh
Blue
no,
lost to
no.
Kasparov.
This was a different thing. No. This is
okay.
modern, right? So Dota 2 is a modern game, and they made an AI that could play the game, just one of the characters, and it kicked people's ass. Like, it was
But why did it do
insanely
that?
good.
Because it was
Sorry?
programmed to by humans? Did it do
No,
that because humans programmed it to?
No, it was a neural network. So what they basically did is they got a learning network that played the game millions of times per second without any direction whatsoever. It wasn't programmed to do anything. It had programs to, it basically had objectives to meet. Like, it is better if you kill the other player. It is better if you get these things and score these in these ways. But what it did is it started out at one end, it wouldn't do anything. It would basically start to do random things. And eventually, after millions and millions and millions of times of running this over and over and over at multiple times per second, it started to learn how to achieve its objectives independently of anything. And the thing about it, and this is kind of scary, the thing about it is it started doing things that the designers were unaware of in order to accomplish those goals, right? So it was doing things like sacrificing itself in a certain way at a certain time in order to get an advantage further down the line that the people that programmed it didn't know existed. Right?
Hey, Mark.
Well, yeah, that happens all the time. That we've got computers that we program that recognize patterns humans haven't recognized.
What if
we can program computers to analyze these things? Like, think about it. This thing played this game millions. What did you say? Millions of times, like per second or per hour or something. No human could ever do that. But if a human could, I would say that human would end up playing that game far superior than any AI that's doing the same thing ever could.
That's how Kasparov.
If we could put an AI and a human on the same level, the human would win every single time.
But that's a weird statement. How would you put a human and a computer on the same? I mean, that's like
what I'm saying is that, like, the computer can play the game millions of times, like, per hour. A human can't do that. A human can't play a video game millions of times in an hour. But if they could, would they be capable of outperforming the AI?
So Leo,
and I think that they would.
Leo, I'm going to loop it back to the crucial point here. So think about an AI designing a better AI 1,000,000 times, right? That's the whole point. That when it comes to actually going in, if a human could design iterations of AI 1,000,000 times, in an hour or whatever, it would be a damn good AI. But they can't. And that's the whole point. These learning algorithms, if they can learn how to design something better, we don't know where it will stop. That's the whole point.
Right. But let's consider how Kasparov beat Deep Blue.
Deep Blue wasn't a learning algorithm. It was just programmed for the rules.
That's fine. All well and good. In any situation on a chessboard, there's a best move. I think we all agree. There's a best move.
I would agree with that, but I'm gonna say that the best move is going to be a normative virtue.
Sure.
Because the rules of chess I'm going to say are going to be normative. So the best move on any chessboard in any game being played right now is going to be in virtue of some standard one is determining for what move it is they ought or ought not make, all things considered.
All well and good.
Yeah, but I don't think
That
like
being the
artificial
case,
intelligences
Deep
operate
Blue,
normatively.
Zeros and
I
ones.
think that's
Blue
one of I think that's one
operates-
of the things that separates them from humans is that AI
Blue-
does not operate under normative virtues.
Right. So Deep Blue operates on the basis that there is a quote unquote best move. Because let's be honest, every move, every possible move in chess has been done. Ostensibly. Ostensibly, that's the assumption. So Deep Blue basically is an algorithm that says, if you do this, this is the best response, right? And the way that Kasparov beat Deep Blue was making bad decisions on purpose, right? Doing stuff that was not the best move. Because then Deep Blue was like, wait, what do I do now?
But the AI's
Yeah, that was a
goals
long
were
time ago,
achieved as a result of whatever actions it took, correct?
No, because the AI lost.
So I'm confused what the point here is.
Doing the unexpected.
What?
No, it literally doing the unexpected is what allowed Kasparov to beat Deep Blue.
I don't even know what Kasparov and Deep Blue is. I don't know where the discussion
So
is.
IBM's Deep Blue was a
That's fine.
supercomputer. No, hang on. So IBM's Deep Blue was a supercomputer. It beat him like in about 90 something, like maybe 30 years ago, kind of thing.
Sure.
It was 4-2 from memory, I think. Yeah, 4-2. Okay, so basically, Kasparov said that he beat Deep Blue by doing things that were totally unexpected, that the algorithms could not account for. The problem is that AI's come so far since then. And for instance, DeepMind was the one I was thinking of. DeepMind is the newest sort of AI. And this program AlphaGo beat the entire community of AlphaGo in South Korea. Like, it absolutely devastated everybody. The new AIs that are coming out are not, I mean, Deep Blue is like 30 years old.
Sure.
Yeah, but can I ask a quick question? Are any of these AIs ever operating outside of the fundamental algorithms that which they were programmed to operate under, or is it just that they're able to develop their own recognition mechanisms for patterns and symmetries within the axiomatic systems they're programmed, such that they can recognize certain patterns or symmetries or functions or what have you in ways either that humans can't recognize or in ways that humans have not recognized, and they can just do this more quickly? Because it seems to me, and with the people I've talked to, that's really what it is with AIs, is that because of how we've programmed them to operate, they have the capability of much more quickly recognizing certain patterns and functions in ways that humans just can't. Like, humans can do it, but just not as fast.
That's not really how machine learning works. So when you have algorithmic programming, you're relying on a system of decision-making trees kind of thing. That's not how neural networks work. It's kind of hard to explain, but they don't say they're not restricted by saying you have to do this or that. They're not restricted by that. It basically uses a number of variables to set the desirability of things as it runs through the neural network, so that it will prioritize certain things that achieve that desired outcome rather than others.
Yeah, but that's
so
because it's programmed that way, right? Like, somebody could program a different desired outcome in it. It's not that the AI desires anything. It's that it's programmed to produce things that some other agent which created it desires.
Ultimately, it's a difference engine.
Yes, that's true. It is a difference engine. That's true. But the whole point is that once it gets, like, if you're talking about that, oh well, AI couldn't become independent because it still relies on that base programming. Iterations down the line, we don't know if that base programming will be preserved in a neural network.
Oh, I was just going to say, me personally, I think it's possible for AIs to become like sentient and have emotions. Whether or not it happens is a different question that I'm not answering. But I think it's very, very much theoretically possible for AIs to become sentient, have emotions, you know, be able to form their own opinions. That is very, very much theoretically possible, I think, personally.
I don't know why they would have their own emotions, though. I can't imagine why that would be.
Well, you have to. It's for me. It's that I don't think that things in like the human brain are like that special. I think the same things could develop in sophisticated enough computer systems. So I think it's completely.
Leo, was it you
for AIs
that was having the arguments
their own
about this?
Hang on. Let Leo speak. I was listening to that.
I think that it's entirely possible for AIs to literally become their own persons. Now, I'm not saying that they would have emotions the same way that humans would, or desires, or they would have the same moral systems or any of that, because they're not humans. They probably aren't going to have the same sorts of underlying factors because they're not going to be biological. But I'm not saying that it is the case that there will be AI in the future that are like their own independent sentient beings. I'm merely saying that I think it's possible for that to happen. Not that it will, just that it's possible.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So, yeah, sorry. What were you saying?
No, I was really ultimately what I'm thinking of is the fact that at the end of the day, an AI or any kind of artificial intelligence is going to be a difference engine, right?
Well, I think it would be an agent vastly different than humans in virtue of it not, being.
Are we difference engines though?
If dogs could like communicate, dogs are obviously quite intelligent mammals, but if they were as intelligent as humans, I still think that their social systems, their moral systems would be probably quite drastically different from humans, because they're a different species. Sure. They're a different. They've got, and I think the same thing for AI. Yeah. Like it wouldn't be biological. But if it did develop to a point of sentience, it's the basis for its emotions and its ethics are going to be drastically different, I think, than what we would see in humans, in virtue of it. Right. Sort of having different fundamental axioms or principles that it's working from.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what we don't know about, which is the whole point
I agree.
We're talking about.
With a computer system, it has to work within the fundamental axiomatic systems in which with which it's programmed. It has to. It can't not do that.
As long as you, I would think that as long as you don't allow it access to like upgrading itself, essentially, if you.
But isn't that the point of an AI? Wasn't Mark explaining that earlier? That like there could be later iterations of the same thing that are capable of going above and beyond what the initial system was designed to do, in virtue of like particular self-development that the system is making, or something like that.
Yeah, but that's assuming a frog can turn into a prince.
Yeah, well, if you have a computer, you have a CPU that designs another CPU, but it's better, but you have to have humans make it and then plug it in order to get it to work. Like, sure. It won't ever upgrade itself because it can't. Even though it can create a new one that's better, it'll never actually be able to upgrade itself, essentially.
Oh,
what if one did?
It's my favorite story.
What logically restricts an AI from upgrading itself? I'm not understanding.
Oh,
what would restrict an AI from doing that?
Necessarily.
I don't think that there's, and if there was an AI that wasn't restricted in terms of its self-development, I certainly think that.
But its functionality remains.
It all has to exist within a computer, and a computer has hardware. Even
Well,
if the
yeah, but
software
I
running
think
on
the
it
same
is a
thing of
certain-
consciousness. Consciousness is physical. You need a physical processor to generate it, but
Yeah.
we're still agents. Like, I'm just saying the same thing. I think it's possible that an AI could just develop agency. Like, it could literally become an agent. I'm not saying this will happen. Again, just I personally think it's possible. I really don't see what makes it, not that anybody is necessarily saying this, just sort of speaking out loud here, thinking out loud. I don't know what it is that's going to make it impossible, or at least even unlikely, that there could be computers in the future that that are sentient. Maybe not to the extent that a human is, but like, what if there was an AI that was like sentient as like an octopus or a dog or something like that, where it actually had a sense of independent sentience, but just not quite at the level of a human? I don't see why such an idea is absurd. Not claiming that, but
you're not. Listen, Leo, I don't disagree with you on any of that. I just don't think rational, reasonable people would allow that to happen.
Well, I guess for me, I don't see what's going to restrict the same processes that occur in the human brain that give rise to our sentience and our sense of independence. What's going to restrict that?
If it gets to the point where it's overriding us, we just pull the power cord.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can kill a human.
Right.
So, but that, I don't think that necessarily means that, like, we can necessarily, like, I guess, I mean, are you arguing against the idea that an AI could become sentient to the level of a human being?
No, I'm saying that humans would never allow that.
I mean, I don't think that'll probably happen for the same reason. I'm with you there, but I certainly think it's theoretically possible.
Sure.
I think it's possible we could create electrochemical
we just won't.
Like AI computers that literally use ions and not just the electricity, but certain chemical reactions, much like the brain does.
Sure.
Will we ever do that?
Look,
or get to that point? I don't
know.
Quantum
computation is a thing.
Well, yeah, right? But quantum computation is actually not like as profound as a lot of people make it out to be.
It isn't, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's extremely complex. I mean,
quantum computation is just using the multiple states of
qubits,
quarks, qubits instead of a binary system of electrons. That's all it is. Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah,
it just increases the memory space. Well, not really. No, I mean, it's exactly the same system. It just is using something with multiple states. Instead
let
of zero
me rephrase. Being able to do that is very complex.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very sophisticated technology, but yeah, I mean, it's not really groundbreaking in the way that most people think, though, because it's still using the same architecture, just a different memory space. That's all.
Right. And I guess that's really my whole thing is no matter how complex it gets, or no matter how deep the dive is, it's always going to be essentially computational logic, right? It's going to be, zeros and ones, frankly.
But not necessarily. I mean, if you had the AI able to create another language that was more efficient in order to converse with itself, then it would start using that.
Yeah, so 0 and 1 is binary, and binary is dependent on basically two-state technology. We just discussed quantum computing, which is sort of more states because you have the up-down. Leo, help me out. What are the states of quarks, mate? I can't remember. There's up, down, strange.
What? Up, down, charm, strange, top, and bottom.
Charm, strange, top and bottom. Yeah. So you've got like 6 states.
Six flavors.
But they're fixed.
6 flavors, right?
Tasty.
So in that case, you would have a hexanary system, right? You would have a 6.
They're still fixed.
I mean, there are 6 quarks, but when you look at the symmetric mathematics of chromodynamics, there's actually, I think, 8 unique solutions, 8 different symmetric states. You think it would be 9 as a result of it being a 3x3 matrix, but there has something to do with because of like the way that certain matrices play with each other under mathematical operations. One of them cancels out, and you end up with 8, instead of like 9 or 12 or whatever. It's like intuitively supposed to be.
I guess my point is just you've got sort of a multiple state system that is not binary, because binary is necessarily 2 states. So I'm not talking states as in states of quantum physics, Leo. I'm talking about states as in like computer architecture. Just be aware, or you correct me heinously.
I guess honestly, what I'm getting at is the technology of a computer versus the technology of the human brain. They're wildly different things.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, absolutely.
And
I love you, Mark.
And
what? That's absolutely
no, it was
true.
just the way you said that. Well, I mean, no shit.
I mean, they just are.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so ultimately, I genuinely think that the fact that the human brain is so wildly different from anything a computer or an AI can be, right?
You think so? Do you think we could add an AI? Like, do you think we can enhance our own brain with computers?
Enhance?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, at some point.
We already do that, don't we? Like in some sense.
Yeah, we do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think
Hearing aids?
there's any reason that
Glass?
can't be the case.
Maybe
Is
not
that
glass.
brain?
but-
Is hearing
Well,
aids
Google
brain?
Glass.
Well, I mean, me personally, I think the perceptive apparatuses are related to consciousness. I don't think consciousness would be what it is absent the perceptive apparatuses. So
Yeah.
I think consciousness isn't in the brain in the sense that it's only what the brain does. It's in a variety of different organs and processes that which these organs engage in all across the body as that body experiences the external reality.
The brain is still what
continuously submerged.
actually makes that a thing.
Well, he's got a good point. The nervous system does play an important role as well. I get what Leo is saying. That
People
sort of
have
that
phantom limbs.
feedback system.
Even if people are born without limbs, they still feel phantom limbs.
I get what Leo's saying. I still don't think a hearing aid counts as a brain augmentation, though. I'm sorry, Leo.
I don't know.
I'm not with you on that one, mate. Like any more than putting on glasses is a brain augmentation.
Well, I mean, it improves the way that the brain perceives things, doesn't it?
It corrects. It doesn't. It doesn't. It corrects with your eyes. Your eyes.
Well, yeah. So, are you saying that like glasses do not improve a person's vision?
You're full of shit.
Hearing aids do not improve a person's ability to hear.
The brain does not interpret. The brain does not interpret that information any differently. It's just that the eyes send different information.
I think I would disagree with that. I think that somebody who's put glasses on and is capable of actually reading what's written on like a sign, I think their brain is interpreting that differently than in an instance where they could not read what is on the sign.
Well,
I think the brain states are going to be different in those two instances when they look at the sign, them with glasses versus them without glasses.
Okay.
But it's not doing anything to their brain
Yes.
specifically. It's doing.
I think it is.
Well, it's a different part of their brain that's picking up on it.
But
because
Leo,
you have
what
you have
happens when
pattern
somebody
seeking
takes
right?
a significant amount of psilocybin, which
I
luckily
think
in
ways
my
in which-
state decriminalized.
I
a
think that
week ago.
changes the ways in which the a lot of information being received via the perceptual apparatuses is processed and understood and stored.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think that like these kinds
Like
of
glasses.
drugs are well, in a sense, yeah. I mean, to a significantly more extreme
Okay.
degree, but yes, it's changing particular aspects of like, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna say that like wearing glasses ultimately does change the chemistry of the brain with respect to like one's ability to read something where they previously couldn't. And I'm going to agree that mushrooms do the same thing, or that like
Right.
LSD does the same thing, but obviously they do these to wildly different extents and in wildly different
And
ways.
in different
But
ways.
sure, I guess there's some sense of similarity between the two.
Well,
I
mean, at the end of the
don't
day-
think that glasses are like. Hold on, let me get my brain augmentation here. Hold it.
I mean,
I do
I
not
wouldn't
think
call it like brain augmentation. I wouldn't use that language to describe
That's
glasses.
exactly
what
what
it
I
is.
said. That's exactly what I said. I said, "Is that augmenting the brain?" And you said, "Yes."
Well, see, but I wasn't
Why?
arguing for it. I was just
It
saying
would
that,
augment what the
some
brain's
people,
capable of
you
perceiving,
know,
though. It would
depending
augment.
on how. I'm sorry, Bree. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say it would augment on what the brain is capable of perceiving about the environment and which parts of the brain are triggered by having that new clarity on the surroundings, right?
Mhm. I mean, yeah, like don't glasses augment the visual perceptual apparatuses of the brain? Don't hearing
They
aids
change it.
augment the auditory perceptive apparatuses of the brain? Like,
They change it.
I think there's a sense in which it augments the brain, but not. I think that in the sense, like the sense that Mark was referring to. No, I think I would agree with him. Glasses and hearing aids aren't going to do that.
Yeah. They change what input goes into the brain.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way of putting it. They change the input, not value,
Yeah.
but they change the input.
Do they make
They
it
do
better?
change the value, though.
Maybe.
They
Well,
change the
the-
value of the information you'll be able to gain. Absolutely, they do.
But the reason I didn't want to use that word is because I'm going to say it depends on what you mean by value there. I mean,
Well, I took
know,
value as for your personal, as an individual, benefits you're navigating the world you live in, I guess.
Yeah. When I used the word value there, what I had in mind was the idea of a quantity, but
Okay.
I think that would be present in more a mathematical representation of the brain rather than it being some like objective feature in the brain.
Okay.
Okay, guys, everybody, I'm gonna go because I've got some workman pounding the thing.
Yeah, I hear it.
I don't know what he's doing, but
Somebody's pounding something upstairs. Huh?
The pounding is long and hard.
Well,
People.
2 hours is a good stream.
I mean, long and
Yeah,
hard
it's a good
pounding
stream,
is
yeah.
not
But
a
I was
bad
thinking. I was thinking, is there a way I can transfer the room to somebody or something like that? Does anybody?
I don't think so.
Please.
But yeah, I can hear the.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I bet.
That's right. So
I mean,
so
look, I'm up for it if somebody else wants to take over the stream.
I don't know
would
if that's
actually
possible.
love to get into, outside of theology, where does evil come from?
Oh.
Well, P-Town's still waiting, but I'm not sure I can transfer it. So
Yeah, I don't think you
I-
can transfer. Somebody else would have to go live.
Wanted to, what you could do, Mark,
Yeah,
is end the stream. You could go backstage yourself and then put P-Town in if you had stuff you wanted to do. If there was anybody here that
that's
wanted to
that's a
engage
good
with
idea.
him or something like that.
So I won't end the stream, but I'll remove myself and add P-Town. So it's been fantastic. Thank you all so much. I will lurk in the background. I also want some lunch. So this seems like, thank you for that. A very good time. So
And
Thanks for
just
letting us bully
FYI,
you.
Mark,
God decided to allow the hard pounding to go on so that Mark would eat his lunch.
Yeah,
Mark, I
Wouldn't-
genuinely
wouldn't
love
say that
the
hard
beast of the
pounding
mark.
caused Mark to eat his lunch. Is that something we could say?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm getting into
Yeah,
deep
possibly,
metaphysical
possibly.
questions about causation.
Okay. Love you all. I love you all. I love talking to you. It's really unfortunate. This stream has gone wrong from start to end, and I love every second of it. So thank you so much,
It's gone
everybody.
great.
And I will lurk a bit, and I'll bring on Peter.
All right.
Peace out, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Everybody.
Hey, P-Town.
A-Town,
Hey,
how's it going?
Did you say A-Town?
No, I said P-Town.
Okay.
That's your name, isn't it?
Just so you know, I'm a little sick, so if I sound weird, my bad. If I'm a little slow and keeping up, I
Yeah,
apologize.
but don't you always sound weird?
No worries.
No, I'm just fucking with you.
See,
I usually
P-Town's
sound like I got
presents
it.
evidentialist positions. I've engaged with P-Town before.
Well,
We were just
P-Town's
talking
reasonable
earlier
to
about
engage with.
the superiority of evidential apologetics to presuppositionalism. So,
Presuppositionalism. Oh man, I just want to say one thing
I
really
mentioned
quickly.
to Mark. Sorry if I'm interrupting anybody.
No, go ahead.
The thing I mentioned to Mark was the idea of like outside of all the theological things about the problem of evil, right? Where does evil come from? Like, what causes it?
Well, I mean, evil is just going to be a normative.
In a non-theistic world.
Evil could be considered to just be a normative virtue.
Agreed.
Wilberforce, you were talking about how monkeys are similar to dogs in that they can actually look at a human that's looking in a particular direction and then look that direction, right? Something. Maybe I didn't say it well enough.
That's a.
I mean, that's real though. Dogs, you can't train dogs to do that.
Recognize that humans are looking at something specific by the gaze of a human. Yes. That's
anyway,
also an evolutionarily
curious.
developed trait as a result of the interaction of dogs with humans.
Domestication.
Dogs weren't born with the ability to do that. They gained it because we
developed
them.
that because they've lived with us for millennia,
25,000 years or something like that.
Well, it's interesting though. Like I pointed out in Job, I don't know if you guys looked at it, but it talks about various different characteristics of animals. In particular, to your point with dogs, God differentiates and says, there's certain animals that you can't actually put or domesticate. You can't do it. People have tried.
Well, there's certain predispositions an organism has to have in order for it to thrive in a domestic setting, and it depends on what ecological needs are filled naturally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
sure,
things like cats, we can domesticate a solitary hunter, but for the most part, with livestock and with
can I ask you a question?
Did
we domesticate cats, or did cats domesticate
cats kind of domesticated themselves, really, yeah. But the herd mentality is
valid question, Leo.
Yeah, the herd mentality and actually the predator response from herd animals made them able to be domesticated to a point where we keep them as livestock. But as for animals that we actually interact with, like horses and camels that we ride on, it had to be very specific groups. Like you can't domesticate a zebra to be a riding animal.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I mean, we're the ones building massive or at least humans at one point in history built massive stone statues of cats, not the other way around. So, who domesticated who?
To bring it back to what you were talking, you wanted to talk about where Wilberforce, when it comes to evil, talks about the ostrich and how she just leaves her eggs. She'll just leave her young behind. She'll just bury them.
Well, ostriches are assholes.
Well, they don't do that.
Right.
Okay.
Their eggs are
something like
evil?
that.
Is this a bad thing?
Anyway.
Wait, is that evil?
No, I'm just, I don't know, but I'm just.
No, I'm talking about.
Why would God create an animal to abandon its own young? Does that seem?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I brought up the point of where does evil come
Humans
from
can do that too.
outside of
Yeah, why would God
explanations.
create that evolutionary?
Outside of theology. Remember that? Remember that part of the
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing?
why I said it could just be like, normative virtues. Like,
Well,
what is
no.
evil? It's just that which all things considered one ought not do. I mean, that's the view I'm going to
How
take,
can
that it's
you-
just
how
going to be a
can you-
categorical norm.
I like
I
that.
don't understand the
Right.
concept of evil outside of a deity. The
I
Bible
do.
tells us this is evil, this is not. Outside of that, we just have social norms, and
Wait,
evil
Maya,
is.
do you think it's
Yeah,
evil?
social
do you think
norms
it's evil to rape-
determine.
Hold on here. Maya, do you think it's evil to rape a child?
Depends on the society. I mean, there are societies that don't.
Well, I'm
consider
asking
rape.
you. I'm asking what you think. Do you think it's evil to rape a child?
I don't believe in evil.
So you would say no, it's not evil to rape a child.
I would say it's wrong and
I
immoral.
would say there's no
but,
such thing as evil.
But yeah, there's. I mean, it's
So you
evil
don't
doesn't
take
really. I don't have a
you don't take
definition for
evil
evil.
to just mean wrongness.
No,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean it's wrong for me.
I mean,
to lie
I
to my
do.
husband. It's wrong for me to lie to my husband. I don't think it's evil. I mean, I can't even say it's wrong. It depends
Well,
on what you're
I
lying
mean,
about.
when I
But,
hear
I would
that,
definitely say immoral. But and there's.
But
other
let's be
times where
honest,
it's maybe
we're
unethical.
just talking about
That confuses me, but, like,
definitions of what evil is.
confuses
Right.
me to hear that like X is wrong, but X is not evil. Like it's to me, it's like hearing X is desirable, but X is not good. Like I don't.
So Leo,
understand.
you're just drawing a
That
line
means.
on the gradient though, and saying on this side of the gradient of things one ought not do. Here's
Well,
on this side of the
yeah.
line there's evil, on that side there's not, right?
Well, no, it's that when if I hear some action X is wrong, some action X is evil, I hear the same thing. All I'm hearing is this action X, all things considered, oughtn't be done.
So is
Like,
so
to say
wrongness
that
is that
some action
absolute?
is evil
Well, I
is
mean,
to
yeah.
say that it's wrong to do. It is something you
Fair
oughtn't
enough.
to do.
Is
Well, I mean, I
wrongness
understand that
absolute,
you're
Leo-
seeing it as a synonym.
Should one commit suicide or genocide? Is
Ought
that-
one commit genocide?
that
All things
wrong?
considered,
Yes
I'm going to
or
say
no?
yes. All things considered, I would say yes.
Okay. We agree.
Well, I mean, but I think for most people, I mean, I don't want to talk for the whole.
Why do
world,
people do it?
But wait, can I finish, please?
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
I think that when most people think about evil, it's like the most severe wrongs. It's like, I can tell a lie, or I can like intentionally, commit genocide. Like genocide would be evil. Telling your wife she, doesn't look fat in those jeans is just,
Yeah, but the lying, I don't think lying is going to be evil in virtue of it being lying. Intentionally stating something that isn't true, I'm not going to say is evil in virtue of only that.
Okay.
I would say that because there are going to be instances where I'm going to say one ought to lie, all
Right.
things considered, and in which instance it's just going to be good. So whether something is good or evil isn't going to be in the action, like intrinsically, so much as, at least for me, so much as it's going to be like the context that the action is being considered in. So like, and this is where the all things considered part comes from. If I'm
Right,
in a
that's what I was
grocery
saying,
store and
Leo.
I
I was
shoot somebody
Yes.
and kill them and provide no other context other than I shot and killed a person in
Failure.
public, most people are going to say, well, all things considered, you oughtn't have done that. That was an evil thing to do. But if I
Yeah.
said that this person
Well,
was
and I'm saying
armed and
that-
had already
that
shot
it's
or
put on a
injured
gradient,
like
right?
several people, then people are going to say, well, all things considered, you ought to have shot and killed this person. So there's going to be a lot of factors that determine it, and that's why I would say that something's being good or evil is going to be a categorical norm. It just, what it means to say that something is evil is just to say that the action, all things considered, ought not to occur. I would say that raping a child is evil. All things considered, one ought not rape a child. Those two statements mean exactly the same thing, in my view.
Okay. Can I
I
get a
just don't know
definition
where
on
to draw a
evil if we're going to have this
line
conversation?
I would say that evil is that which, all things considered, ought not to occur.
Go ahead, Maya.
No, I'm just asking a question because like I can't contribute to a conversation when I don't know the definition.
For me to say that something is evil is to say that all things considered, it ought not to occur. So to say that raping a child is evil is to say that all things considered, one ought not rape a child.
Does anyone else, wait, if we're going to go forward, do you have a different definition or do you want to just roll with that?
When I'm considering, when I ask the question of where evil comes from, what I'm talking about is why do people do things that we generally consider to be evil?
Well, because they have some sort of like desire or belief normatively driving them. I mean,
I agree.
Hitler did not think it was evil to exterminate Jews because he thought Jews themselves were engaged in evil actions that were detrimental to society.
Leo, you and I are on the same page there.
Real quick
when
here.
I taught history, I literally made it a point to tell my students that people like Hitler don't wake up in the morning going, I'm going to do something evil today.
Just really quickly
no,
on behalf of the chat,
that.
On behalf of the chat for Monkey for Banana, yeah, it is tautological, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that it's like invalid or not usable. So, if I said a bachelor is an unmarried man, that's tautological because what it means to be a bachelor is to be both a man and unmarried. So when I say a bachelor is an unmarried man, if that's what it means to be a bachelor, then all I'm really saying is an unmarried man is an unmarried man. It's tautological. But that doesn't make it uninformative
when I talk about something being
unuseful or anything like that.
So can I just say something, please?
My definition of evil being tautological. I just wanted to finish this thought.
Leo,
my definition of evil being tautological doesn't somehow like reduce. So I just wanted to finish the thought. My definition, just for clarification, on behalf of somebody in the chat, I don't think this is a wrong thing to do. My definition of evil being tautological doesn't somehow mean it's like uninformative or unuseful.
Okay. I just wanted to say that your definition, that I don't understand how I can adhere to your definition when I don't think there is the possibility for all things to be considered. I don't think that that's a real
I guess I don't understand that objection. To say all things considered is just to mean to consider all relevant facts to whatever situation.
How do you know what all relevant facts are? You can't.
So raping a child, all things considered is evil. That's to say, when I consider all facts relevant to whether I ought or ought not to rape a child, they're all going to lead me to the conclusion that I ought not do that.
It's what Leo thinks.
If we were to grant like some extreme hypothetical where, like, I don't know, some alien came down and said, if you don't rape this child, I'm going to like kill all humans.
Nuke the world.
All things considered, you ought to rape the child because one of the facts of consideration is the survival of the entirety of the species.
Again,
all things considered, we're examining all of the relevant facts to the decision being made.
All things considered by who? You don't know as much as
by whoever is considering the situation. See, you're trying to like pigeonhole a categorical norm into some like realm of specificity when it's a categorical norm.
It's actually I'm trying to explain to you that you're pigeonholed. That you're on.
I haven't pigeonholed anything.
You're on a circle on a gradient and saying
I'm not.
Inside this circle is evil because the things that I can consider as an individual.
That's not what I've said.
All things considered to me as an individual fit this criteria of evil, but you're
not what I've said.
We're all humanity on a gradient that all considered.
But that's not what I've said.
Different angles.
That isn't the position that I've argued.
Right?
Leo,
that's not the position that I've argued.
I think.
Yeah, when you ask all things considered by who, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter by
really
who.
Appreciate
all things
if you let
considered
me
by anybody in some situation because it's a categorical norm.
Like it's awfully rude.
The beer's kicking in, Leo. Share the
I don't know what that means. I was responding to somebody who was speaking directly to me, so I don't understand.
I still
Yeah.
don't understand. I don't understand how you can say all things considered without specifying considered by who.
Because it
all
doesn't
things
matter.
can't
It's just
consider
not
the thing.
relevant. It doesn't matter who's
What if they-
considering
what
it,
if
as
all things
long
they
as they're
consider are
considering
different?
all of
All
what
factors
the
are
all of
different.
what the
All right,
relevant.
I'm gonna go ahead.
That's that's what the notion of a
Leo's not
categorical norm is.
letting anybody clarify the position.
Well, no, I'm stopping people when they're not properly representing the position I've outlined. That's not wrong to do.
Okay, I want to properly outline the position I'm representing.
Is
You
that
want to
what the
shut the
discussion
fuck
was
up
on? Is that
while
what the
I do
discussion was
that?
on? So you're saying it's
You wanna
not
let
okay
me
for
do
me.
that?
So you're saying it's not
You
okay
wanna
for
let
me.
me do that
So you're
or
saying that
not?
it's not. So you're saying that it's not okay for me to clarify things that somebody is asking specifically me on something I specifically said.
Well, I don't
We
know.
should
You're gonna
focus on
argue
what
against
you.
my
We should
position and
focus
you
on
won't
what
let
you
me.
want to say,
And
and
you
I
won't
shouldn't
let me.
answer. I shouldn't answer.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, just come back for a second. I could hear that in the other room while I'm making my lunch, like seriously. And I'm sorry, Leo and Wilbur. I just came in and heard all of that, and I don't really. I get that maybe one person is right, one person is wrong at the moment. I've got noise upstairs. I've got noise from this. I've got noise from everywhere. Fuck it. I've had enough. So, I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Whether I should bring you back. Whether you guys can sort of, not yell at one another.
Well, I
and
think
stuff.
I'm done for the night. It's been
Okay.
fun. It was fun. I was just poking at Leo about.
Good
just
job, you.
So cool, Leo.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know what button you pushed, but that was it.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll
see you guys
rewatch it
later.
at some point. Thanks, Bree, and I hope you feel better and much
Yeah.
love. Okay, you
Love you,
take
Bree.
care of yourself and be kind to yourself and
And
so
reach
much
out-
love.
Reach
Night.
out if you need to talk to people.
Yeah, absolutely. If you need somebody, just grab me, no problem. Okay. All right.
I don't
are you thinking
understand
of
why
a
I was put backstage. What was I not
Well,
behaving on? I was asked
because-
specific questions.
That is exactly.
Sorry, Leo. That's exactly why, mate. Now I'm gonna bring you back, but we're gonna have a conversation. Leo, I can see you furiously gesturing. It's not helping your case, mate. Like, come on. Just 1 sec, okay? Just 1 sec. Are you gonna have a conversation with me?
Allowed to explain what I'm saying?
Well, Leo, are you gonna have a conversation with me, or are you just gonna sort of, attack me? Because I don't know
I didn't
what was
attack
going
you.
on.
I was
Okay,
trying
so
to
let me-
explain that. That was the thing.
Okay, so let me explain what my point of view is, and then you can explain what yours is. So mine was, I sort of heard this noise coming from my headset, came over here, two people were arguing. I put them into the back room, both of them. I didn't really make any designation on whose fault it was or what was happening or extenuating circumstances. It's just two people yelling at one another. That's it. You were one of those people. Now, that may not have been your fault. I'm not saying it was. It's just those are the two people that were yelling incoherently to me, my perspective. So that's what I did.
Okay, I mean, I don't think I was yelling. I think I was using the same tone that I am now. But I was asked specific questions about things that I said, and when I went to answer them, I was told that I'm not allowed to answer, and we have to talk about what somebody else wants to talk about. And I was just disagreeing with that.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I get that people want to have their say and sort of articulate a lot what they're saying. I think that when it devolves down into just sort of that sort of level of people talking at once, at that point nothing's going to progress at all, like ever. It's just not, mate. It just isn't. So hey, I might have been overreactive putting both of you back there. I may have been completely justified. From my point of view, I was, because I didn't really want to get on the stream, and I'm still having this banging in the background. Oh, I'm sorry. I am.
What are they doing? Are they like?
I don't know.
Something?
Yeah, they're probably renovating or something. It's a Sunday. It's not. So I live in a block of units, right?
It's on a Sunday. Jesus.
Right, which is actually against the council bylaws, but our bylaws within these block of units is you don't confront people, you have to put an official complaint. So that's been put out there. So, which is very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating when you want to just go, hey, are you aware that it's an actual Sunday and you're not supposed to be doing construction work? But some people, and it's not the first time. So it's very frustrating on my end.
That's weird
Oh,
to
so
me.
it's-
Like
it's forwarding
it's
time,
wrong
though.
to do this. Like you're not allowed to do this or something, but you can't tell
But
people. That,
Yeah,
what?
but they're doing it
I
anyway.
That's
All right.
weird.
Well, what I'll do because I don't know what sort of I can hear stuff in
You
the
wacky
background that's
Australians.
annoying me. Us wacky Australians, yeah, man. But you know, at the end of the day, it's not something to really get angry about. It's just it's life, man. Like whatever. You know, yeah. I'll wake up early and bang pots and pans sometime. And revenge. I don't know. I'll do something. But yeah, I'm gonna call it quits here. I think that I'm just getting distracted by the noise coming out of everywhere. So I really do apologize. And I hope it was a good conversation. I hope that it was a good stream. Thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Has anybody got anything to add before they go?
Well, if I can just throw this out, Leo, I look, man, I ain't mad at you or anything like that. You know, things get passionate, fair enough. I'm not trying to start a fight with you. I think by and large, we agree on most things, probably. But that being the case, like, I don't know. Probably a personality conflict more than anything. So, you know, for future interactions, you know, maybe we just consider that.
I appreciate meeting all you guys. That's fun.
Yeah, it was good to meet everybody.
Yeah,
Hey,
likewise.
especially Jonas and seeing Wilberforce again. And I know, like Leo gets passionate and he goes off occasionally. He doesn't mean any
I do
harm.
too.
You don't mean any
It's
harm
fine.
by it, do you, Leo? You've gone off at me many times,
What?
and you still love me.
Well,
Admit
I mean, I
Admit
would.
it. Admit it. You love me.
Me and you,
Admit it.
Mark. Of course, I love you, Mark. We've had our disagreements.
Oh yeah,
Have I really gone off on?
I think so.
Because when I say go off, when I think of that, I'm thinking like, what's a good example? Like if you've seen me in LPP streams where I'm not like, and when I think of me going off, it's not that I'm insulting people. It's just that like I get somewhat rigid in a discussion. Like I'm not gonna let you dance around points. I'll force the point that I'm making into the discussion, regardless of whether somebody wants to listen to it or not. If I think it's relevant, things like that. I don't ever get insulting unless the other person is. But yeah, I mean, I can get passionate. It's just I like honest discussions, and in any instance where I feel that's not being had, I will force it to be honest, even if that means I have to be rude, because I don't think rudeness necessarily entails dishonesty.
But do keep in mind that sometimes is perception based, Leo.
Sometimes what?
Sometimes it is perception based.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It sounded like you said
sometimes-
deception based at first. I was gonna say
No.
what?
It's this. It's. I'm struggling. So and P-Town, thank you for joining. I hope you had a good experience with Maya. Always a pleasure. You are a wonderful person. Jonas,
Thank you.
fantastic to talk to you, mate. That's really good to have you on. I really appreciate your comments and you giving me feedback and trying to help. I do appreciate it. I may not agree with everything you say, but I appreciate you giving your 2 cents. Definitely.
By the way, I hit 1K subs.
Congrats.
Hey, congratulations, Leo. Why didn't you lead with that?
Well, because I didn't know, so I was like looking in the chat, and
okay,
Big Bad Mama
Yeah.
said, "Leo, I just put you at 1,000." So she must have gone in and like subscribed with a bunch, like 4 or 5 accounts or something to put me over the line. Much love to her.
Huge, man. Oh, that's huge, buddy. Hey, you're doing a celebration or something? Like, come on, let's.
I'm thinking about I think or later this week I'm gonna do it. Do an open, because I what I want to do is like every other week, like on like a Thursday or something, every other week do a live stream, an open mic. The reason I haven't yet is because I feel like I'm not a channel that does those frequently, so I feel like nobody's gonna know that I'm doing it and nobody's gonna be there. So I just haven't done it yet.
I don't care, Leo. Tell me and I'll be there, man. For 1,000, absolutely. I would not miss that for the world. Absolutely.
But I think I am going to do 1,000.
I'll yell at
subscriber
you on
party
a
and do
live
an open
stream.
mic.
Yeah, let's all yell at Leo on a live stream. Let's all.
Oh yeah.
Because look, I'm the kind of person where I want people to come on and like scream at me. Like I want.
Right.
That's what I want. Is that bad? Is that wrong to like kind of want people to come on?
Here's
and
the
scream
funny
at me?
thing. Like,
Look, I'm not going to kink shame.
honestly,
you. There's no way.
Leo, you and I agree on probably
I think
90% of things.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, dude, let's yell at each other over the other 10%.
Yeah,
Hell
let's
yeah,
get
why
Bree
not?
there next. Let's get
You know
Bree
what's
there
funny?
next as well.
It's that the number of videos I have out is 69.
Don't you dare put another video out. That's perfect.
I've had to stop my channel. There it is, folks. That's a wrap.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get Bree there next. She deserves
Damn
it.
right.
She's doing
Absolutely.
so well. Love Bree.
You can drop
thank
me
you,
out
Amy.
to bring Bree in.
Hello, Amy. Lots of love. I got to go before I go crazy. But, I appreciate all of you. Have a fantastic night. And
Can I say one thing to Amy really quickly?
No,
it won't be long. Oh, God.
Go on. Yeah. No. Go for it.
I was just gonna say I saw her live stream earlier from for her recording on Discord. It was live, but she was recording from Discord a discussion she was having. The one guy I really didn't think. Like I felt like he really was like trying to be honest, but I also feel like Amy's point was completely being lost on him. I just wanted to clarify that. I was watching that, and yeah, some of those people weren't very charitable, but the one guy, I think he was trying, but I think some of the points were being lost on him. They were talking philosophy of mind.
Yeah, well, do take care. Lots of love. Take care of yourself, everybody else. Be nice to yourself, and lots of love out there. And I'm going to go before this hammering drives me crazy. But do take care, and thanks for coming.
And remember.